We like to joke here in Denver that Charger's going to charge it.
Right.
Right? Well, you've made it pretty clear in the early part of this season that you think Cowboys going to Cowboy.
Yeah.
So now we got Cowboys and Chargers.
Right.
So who's going to be able to do it less? Chargers going to Charger or Cowboys going to Cowboy less? You
can take this one to the bank. All right. Just mark it down, write it down. This damn thing ends in a tie. That's going to end in a tie. Neither of these guys. I happen to feel like maybe Brandon Staley wants to get fired. Maybe he's so sick of working for the Chargers because some of the ridiculousness of him going for it on fourth down in his own 24 and this, that, and the other, like he's trying to lose games. And in spite of that, he still finds a way to win games. There's a couple guys on the Chargers that, I mean, I think you have to look at. Bosa's a guy that everybody talks about. You know, Khalil Mack last time he played had 6 sacks in a game.
This game's already giving him a headache.
He's like, I got to talk about this game, and it's giving me a headache. Yeah, 6 sacks in that game. Like he automatically went to the Pro Bowl. Like you just sent him to the Pro. Remember, he played the Broncos years ago when he was with the Raiders and got 6 sacks in that game here in Denver.
Michael Schofield was the tackle.
Straight to the Pro Bowl. He just went straight to the Pro Bowl after a game like that. I will say this. One of my favorite players in the National Football League to watch play, and this doesn't happen very often when I talk about wide receivers being my favorite players because most of the time I don't like them. But Keenan Allen's one of my favorite players. Big, strong, sets a tone, physical, takes no crap off nobody. And he is just one of those guys that you look at the way he plays. He's just a phenomenal football player, really sets a tone for that offense. And, he's just one of those guys that I love to watch play. I think he's that good. And then, when we talk about this Dallas Cowboys team, like Dak Prescott is really good when there's nothing on the line or when they're playing a subpar talent football team. But when they need Dak Prescott to go out and win, against a good defense, it just seems like he's just not that guy. And, Jerry Jones, I want to ask you this. Jerry Jones came out and basically said, hey, listen, I still believe that Dak, is the guy that can win us a Super Bowl or be the starting quarterback. Like we say this all the time. Our buddy Joel Klatt, who comes on with us, says it all the time. The confetti test. Like, if you close your eyes, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan and you close your eyes, can you picture confetti falling on Dak Prescott's head as he wins, as he's the Super Bowl MVP and leads the Dallas Cowboys to a championship? Can you picture that?
It's hard, but also right now, I think it's hard to imagine that happening with Justin Herbert. You just got these two teams that just, when you think about trying to win a Super Bowl, right? You got to show an ability to grind. You got to show an ability to really be able to handle. You know what it's like to win Super Bowls, 3 of them. You got to be able to deal with adversity. And these guys both these teams, when adversity presents itself, they just seem to kind of get, pushed back by it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that that's, I don't know that it's a quarterback thing. I think it's a team thing. Like, I think you got to have the right team. And, it's one thing. I just think that talent can take you so far, but when you get to that stage, it's not great quarterbacks that win championships or what. It's great teams, and you could sit there and talk. We joked about the Atlanta Falcons and Tom Brady and the Patriots, but there was a formation that resulted in a sack. There was you're going for it and you're throwing the ball and you're not eating up clock, and there was a lot of things that just weren't Brady-esque that led to that major comeback down 28-3. There were a lot of self-inflicted wounds, if you will, administered by the Atlanta Falcons, and so, but that whole team had a mental toughness about them that I think is required when you get to playoff time.
Well, you think about Belichick back when he was a good coach, and I think his philosophy was that a lot of times
did he forget to coach how to coach? Is he washed up? Did he forget how to coach?
Yeah.
Go ahead. It's philosophy.
But the idea is that maybe more football games are lost than won.
Right. Yeah.
And just sometimes, a lot of times, just be mentally tough, hang in there, and wait for the other guy to make a mistake, right? And I think that sometimes you look at teams like the Chargers, Dallas, and there's probably some other teams that come to mind too, that they get into that position where they just can't help but make that mistake that ends up costing them a game.
Isn't it sad? Like for me, being that we live here in Denver, and I'll just sidetrack us for a second, I get information from inside the Jets locker room that the Jets were saying the thing about Denver is that we know if we force them into a mistake that they're going to crumble. Like eventually the Broncos just be like, oh gosh, here we go again. The Jets, the sad sack Jets with Zach Wilson that haven't won a championship since Joe Willie Namath was in the league. It's got to be 6 decades since they've won something. The sad sack Jets are saying, we knew that if we just forced the Broncos into a mistake or two, they would crumble. They would take a dump in their helmets like they always do, and they'd be over. Dude, the Jets are saying that about you.
Well, and I would bet that there are plenty of teams that play the Chargers and Cowboys that feel the same way.
Yeah.
That ultimately
they're front runners. And as soon as you put the pressure on them, they're going to crumble and make mistakes. But it hurt my heart because we used to say it about teams. Like we used to say that all the time about different teams. Like, oh yeah, weather the storm. Once we force them into a couple mistakes, the Raiders, they will roll over. They will just roll over the Raiders, and they'll just give it up. The Raiders. So that's what we used to say. Yeah, that's what we used to say all the time about the Raiders.
Okay. I was having a hard time figuring out what team you were talking about.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
For everybody involved in the Stinky Truth, we thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. If you want to see more of our videos, you can also be sure to check out our playlist. Let us know exactly what you think in the comments below. We appreciate you guys so much for being a part of that.
Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.